This is a special video that is a Mercury retrograde breakdown. Now, the time frame for this particular video is December 2023, and it goes to January 2nd, 2024. But I want you to know that what we're going to go through here, you can take and apply to looking at other transits. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is an image of the Human Design Mandala. Isn't it beautiful? It's really the whole human design system. And so understand that when there's cosmic energy coming in from all of the different planets, right? And it's coming into the earth, they're coming in and they're imprinting through this mandala, through the 64 gates. And so that's what you're looking at here. And as we are moving around the mandala, here we start the human design year here when the sun is in the gate 41, which is going to happen around January 22nd, 2024. And then it's going to move around the mandala counterclockwise. So that's how the sun moves and the earth moves, how all the planets move, unless they're going retrograde. And that's part of what we're going to dig in to today. Here we're zeroed in on taking a look at the mandala. So let's just go through what the different parts are. So all the way around the outside where it says mutation spirit there, that is demarcating the 4 seasons of the year, or the 4 quarters of the year. Inside of that are the astrological symbols and the astrological names. Inside of that are the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. And then inside of that, there's the little hash marks, and those are the lines of the gates. Inside of that, you'll see the numbers, which are the numbers of the gates. And then here, where I have emphasized it with is Mercury sitting in the gate 58. So you can see there are different planetary symbols. Here's Pluto. Here's Venus, here's the South Node. So this is where all of the different planets are when Mercury's in the 58, which is what's happening right now. So before Mercury went retrograde, he was going forward through the gates. So you can see the gates here, okay? And this particular cycle will begin and end in the gate 26. You can see the gate 26 right here. And so Mercury entered the gate 26 on November 22nd, and then went to the 11 on November 26th, and then into the gate 10 on November 30th, and into the gate 58 on December 5th. Then when Mercury retrogrades and appears to go backward in the sky, not actually going backward, but appears to go backwards in the sky, it's going to turn around on December 13th in the gate 58. And it's going to head backward over the terrain that he's already been through. So on December 20th, it's going to move into the gate 10, go from the 58 to the 10. On the 25th, it's going to move into the gate 11. And then on December 31st, it's going to move into the gate 26. And then on January 2nd, it's going to turn around and go forward again and go back through those same gates again. Okay, so it's going to go through the 26 and the 11 and the 10 and the 58. So the retrograde isn't just that Mercury is going back through those gates during that time. It's also that these particular gates, there's 4 of them, right, are being highlighted for a month and a half here, right? Forward and back and forward again. So that means that Mercury is really lighting up these 4 gates and is saying, I want you to pay attention to what's happening in these gates. So let's dig into these gates a little bit. So Mercury started in the gate 26. The gate 26 is on the will center. It's in the tribal circuit, and it is In human design, it's kind of known as the gate of sales, is traditional human design. It's also the trickster, which is what I consider to be the shadow aspect of the 26, which is really kind of like the sleazy salesperson, right? But then in quantum human design, it's been renamed as integrity. And so what we can take away from this is the 26 is really this energy for enrolling. Okay, it's the ability to kind of enroll someone in an idea, enroll someone in a project, enroll someone in working with you, enroll someone in making a change in their life, whatever that is. I like to think of it as enrolling energy. And when it's done with integrity, it's a beautiful energy because think about your own experience, right? Have there been times when you've been enrolled in something that, you got so inspired and you felt really right on, you felt on purpose and you wanted to engage in it, right? And so that's great when whoever is presenting it to you or wherever it's coming from, it has integrity in it. You can trust it. You can know it. It's more when it's showing up in that shadow aspect where somebody is trying to manipulate or control you, get you to do something for their own personal gain, or where you're kind of going, ooh, I don't like sales. I don't like being enrolled in things. I don't like any of the, then you're really in a disempowered relationship to this energy. And yet it's very natural and very much a part of who we are. And just think about little kids, right? Kids are really good at enrolling their parents in particular, but also each other in doing stuff. So the 26 can be a really beautiful energy when it's being expressed as integrity. And so Mercury is lighting this up and really kind of asking us 3 different times, right? Because he's going to go forward through it and then back and then forward again. Are you being in integrity with what you're doing in the world? Are you experiencing other people with integrity? Are you communicating? Because, Mercury is the god of communication. So are you communicating with integrity? Good things to think about. Then Mercury moves into the gate 11, which is actually quite different. It's in the sensing circuit. It's known as the gate of ideas in traditional human design or the conceptualist in quantum human design. And people who have this defined in their chart a lot of times just have ideas, like a lot of ideas coming in. It can be a little bit overwhelming. So when Mercury is lighting this up, you may find that there's a lot of ideas that you want to talk about, or you may find that other people are talking to you about a lot of ideas. And this can be a great boon, but sometimes it can also be overwhelming. So you want to be thinking about which of these ideas is really going to serve me, which ones are not for me, they're actually for other people, and which ones are not for anybody right now, but they might be fun to think about. That you want to be able to discern that so that you can distill and pull out what are the ideas that are for you now, ideally, right? And Mercury's kind of like, here are a bunch of ideas, right? And then we retrograde back through and he's like, okay, are those really the ideas? Let's think about that again. Let's review it again. And then as we go forward, it's like, okay, let's go for it. Let's go ahead and talk and teach about the ideas that are really important. And then Mercury's also been in the gate of self-love. So the 10 is on the G center. It's a beautiful, potent energy. And it's a lot of times misunderstood and not expressed in the most beneficial way. Because let's face it, most of us have been taught not to really love ourselves. We've been more likely been taught to criticize ourselves, find fault with ourselves, think we're not good enough, we're not worthy, we're not deserving. The list goes on, right? So the best thing you can do if you start to feel any of that really critical energy towards yourself, or you find you want to be critical of other people, is to just see, how can I be more loving with myself? How can I be more loving? How can I activate the love that is the character of the G center and not be going into either the disempowered expression, which is like, where you're really beating up on yourself, or you're attracting other people to beat up on you and judge you, or the shadow, which is where you're using this energy to blame and judge other people. Whatever those are, you want to go into that more awakened and empowered state where you can really be like, you know what? I'm pretty awesome. There's a lot of great things about am I perfect? No. But perfection is overrated, right? There's a lot of really great things about me, and my heart is big, and I always, do the best that I can and aim to love myself and love others. And that is just fine. That can be a huge antidote if you're feeling those lower frequencies having to do with the gate 10. And then Mercury lighting up the gate 10 is saying, what are you talking about? Like one is the communication, right? So what's the self-talk that's going in here, but also what's coming out of your mouth in relation to other people. So you really want to look at the communication aspect of this. And again, Mercury is going to have gone through the gate 10 and lighting up this possibility for you to look at your self-talk and then go back and look again and then go back forward. Is really like, how's your self-love? How can you upgrade your self-talk so that it's actually more supportive for you and more in that empowered and awakened state? And then Mercury in the 58 is really lighting up this energy of joy. Okay, it's on the root center. It's in the pattern or the logic circuit. And it's a joy about having things come into alignment and a joy of having engaged with whatever it is that you're passionate about and having mastered it. And so there's this kind of feeling of expansion and joy that comes when you're having that kind of an experience. So Mercury, again, communication, is asking, how is your joy? Are you communicating joy, or are you more disempowered around this and not feeling any joy, feeling really worn down, not feeling like the work that you're doing or what you're engaging in with your life is bringing you joy? How can you change that? How can you elevate that? How can you bring that up? And part of that is going to be about how you communicate about it. So again, you want to look at, what are you saying inside your head, right? That self-talk, but then also what's coming out of your mouth and how you are expressing and sharing that with others. Mercury is a really beautiful planet. It's a fast moving planet, and he's the god of communication. And so you want to just be looking at, how am I communicating? How am I communicating verbally? How am I communicating energetically, physically? What is my body language saying? And also, what's going on inside of me? We're getting some real illumination about what's going on inside during this retrograde cycle. And, Mercury retrograde often gets a really bad rap because sometimes communication does go awry. But what you want to think about is, how can I just be more aware of my communication? Sometimes I might need to clarify more. I might need to explain myself more. I might need to follow up. I might need to continue to invite, or I might need to continue to speak with someone about a topic that is complicated or emotionally charged, so that we can get to a place where we have a mutual understanding about what our communication means, and we get to be on the same page. Now, I know sometimes that technology can get wacky during a Mercury retrograde. It's usually communication technology of some sort. So just remember, during a retrograde period, it's not that you can't do anything. It's not that you can't communicate. It's not that you can't engage, but it's more about trying to complete things, or trying to go back to something that's already been started, going back and moving that forward, completing that piece, or taking the next step with it, rather than starting something brand new. That will make it a bit easier for you if you don't try to start really brand new things during this Mercury retrograde. But like I said, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to work with retrograde cycles, so that you can see, goodness, there's these 4 gates that Mercury is really working with over a 6-week period, right? Going forward and back and forward. What is it that Mercury is really trying to communicate to me by doing that? What does this mean for me in my life? How can I become more aware? How can I become more present? How can I utilize what's happening with this heavenly body and how it's influencing me and everyone around me, so that we can avoid the pitfalls and we can really expand the benefits that we can receive? In the new year, I'll be offering 10 days of sovereignty. We'll be going from January 15th to January 25th, and we'll have 5 different live sessions during this time. And we'll be digging into the 8 pillars of feminine sovereignty. And so I'll be pulling from my recent book, Feminine Sovereignty 8 Pillars for Regenerating Ourselves and Our World. And we'll be doing some energy practices together. We'll be digging into what does sovereignty mean? How can you develop this in your own life? What are the elements that will help you to really build that power within so that you can show up in your life with confidence and with grace and with clarity and with purpose and contribution. And so we'll be digging into all of that. This is a free event. It's my gift to you as we're moving into the new year. And I will share with you about the programs that I'll be doing in 2024 that are based in my new book, the Feminine Sovereignty Explorers Club and the Feminine Sovereignty Leadership Incubator. So stay tuned for more information about all of that. Okay, many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.